and welcome back to PopCultX. We're in episode 150. That's kind of crazy, Gabe. 150?
Yeah, that sounds like a lot.
It absolutely does. Well, here at PopCultX, over this past month of July in 2024, we've been diving deep into the world of comic books, and we've had several outstanding guests join us, including Adrian Gutierrez, Jack Foster, Kelly Thompson, and congrats to Kelly Thompson for her Eisner win with It's Jeff, and also Meredith McLaren. And today, as we wrap up July as it comes to an end, we're going to be wrapping up our comic book month with a special recap of the 2024 San Diego Comic-Con. And we're also very thrilled to be joined this episode by fellow comic book enthusiast Joseph Calon, better known as Gen X, from his Gen X Comics. Now, Joseph is a passionate collector and promoter of comics since his childhood in Brooklyn, and now he runs this vibrant community through his Whatnot store and his online events. So welcome, Gen X, to the
Thank
to the
you.
show.
Yeah, I'm thankful. I am appreciative to have you all invite me to your space. This is so cool. I love everything. If I would show you what I have behind me, just like you all, but it is a mess. I'm actually reorganizing, as you all probably have done in the past. Reorganizing your comics and all your collectibles is a nightmare. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I'm just saying that I'm in the midst of doing that as well. I've got things that are in boxes, things are half are in storage, half are in a hallway right now. Things are everywhere.
So you feel my pain.
Yeah.
Actually, all of our pain.
Definitely, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be switching out my comic books behind me. I'm going to go Batman, Moon Knight, I think, just to highlight the contrast between them. But it's going to be a lot of fun. But we're here to talk about comics. So,
sure.
Gabe and I, we know each other's kind of like origin story in the comic books. But why don't you go ahead, Jen, and give us your origin story into the world of comic books and how you got involved with it and how it's become a part of you.
Well, I feel like the going back in the time, I would love to have my time stone to go back and collect all the Hulk 181s and so on and so forth. But since I don't have one, I can kind of nostalgically go back. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. And I was born in the 70s, but I'm a Gen X, obviously. Mm-hmm. And in the 80s, I was that kid running around the streets, just having a good time playing basketball, collecting. I actually had a talent for drawing. And so that kind of got my stepfather at the time really got me into he was an artist himself, and he got into that and got me involved in kind of just practicing my art after school and basically just doing it. And then I picked up a Hulk comic book. I can't remember which one it was. I just remember it was him and a big old Mack truck that he was holding from falling into the abyss somewhere in like California somewhere. But as soon as I saw that, I was to the races. I think I used to collect as many coins from the sofa, as many as I could. I would definitely use up every nook and cranny in everybody else's household and ask for permission, of course. And they were like, yeah, sure. And little by little, every week, I was collecting money to just go to my local comic book shop and just started buying comics. And so I started tracing, drawing, and kind of getting myself acclimated, and really got into it probably as a 7-year-old, and was really in deep. So much so that I had a collection that probably my brother did not appreciate because it started filtering into his space in our shared bedroom. So, but no, it's been a part of my life since I can remember. And part of the reason why I think one of the things I loved about comic books was that it really mirrored real life in a sense. Growing up as a kid in New York, Puerto Rican, there were a lot of trials and tribulations. I was, around gang members and folks who told me I couldn't do or be intelligent enough or do whatever I wanted to. And comic books really upended that for me. And I was able to really pursue and just, to achieve things that I hadn't before. So I was academically sound and I was really into the arts. So that's how I got into it. I never got successful. I almost went to art school, art and design high school. I got accepted to all these art schools. And then I ended up not going. And so I'd never pursued to see how good I could get. But my cousin was freaking amazing. He could draw. My cousin Edwin, if he's listening to this, he's probably my favorite artist of all time. Of
Very
all
cool.
time. Just amazing artist. So I really mirrored a lot of what he did. He was into Bruce Lee. So I did Bruce Lee workouts with him. He was into drawing. I did drawing. And then I also did architecture. And as a kid, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I was just doing design. So to this day, I am still involved. And like you said, I do cons and virtual cons. I've just finished my fourth one. I'm doing a fifth one and planning for it in January.
Very
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So
yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I was going to get into your virtual cons because I'm very interested to learn more about how that came about for you and what you see. Do you see a growth in that? I mean, because a lot of people are connecting virtually nowadays, like us here. I'm in Vegas, Gabe's in San Diego, and you're in Baltimore. That's virtually connecting in through the inner tubes and internet and stuff. How has that really helped shape your virtual cons? And has it brought, as it, have you seen, I guess, just a growing number of people wanting to get involved with it?
Yeah, it's actually interesting. The virtual con space actually was obviously because of COVID,
Hmm.
but I started selling on Whatnot some of my comics, and I was building a community within that space. And then eventually they were like, "Hey, we need to get together in a con." And so wishful thinking, I was like, "You know what? It'd be great if we did a Gen X con in Puerto Rico." And everybody was like, "Yeah." And then reality set in and it was like, we're still in a pandemic. So I said, well, why don't we do something? Let me get back to you. And so I purchased a license for this platform called AirMeet. And I just started calling folks that I knew, um, folks that, by the grace of God, I don't know who, I don't know if it was, the one above all from comics, but literally, I was able to produce my first Gen X Con a couple of years ago. So I've done two a year. My first one out the gate was freaking amazing. I had the Jeppy Family Enterprises. The family was there. They're still a good friend and supporter of what I'm doing. Jimbo Salgado. Eventually, it just grew. But I really did it because the community asked for it. Number two, I thought about folks who can't make it to cons. I've thought
Yeah,
about
yeah.
folks who physically can't make it, people who don't get to because of my finances, right? It's
Hmm.
expensive.
Hmm.
You can drop hundreds and hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars. And so I just decided that, I'd bring some noteworthy folks, indie folks, writers, creatives, just to come to your living room and have a blast with you. And actually, on this platform, pretty interactive. So I don't think anybody else is doing anything like this, which I'm proud of. And I get to connect with people like Rodney Barnes and Jason Sean Alexander, and have you all kind of interact with them, talk to them,
Yeah.
and engage. David Nakayama has been a part of my con as well. And I have sponsors, which is another mind blowing
Wow.
thing.
That's
So
really cool.
yeah, give me giveaways and I get to give them to you all. So, admission is free. Admission is free for the con. And the only thing that helps support it is really just donations from people and folks really supporting the cause. But really, it really is a labor of love. It takes months to put
Yeah.
together and negotiating time and
I can
schedules.
imagine.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's really cool. And just putting together like this podcast, it is a labor of love, like you said, for your cons. It's just, but getting to get those talented people on there and just pick their brains and hear their stories, that just, and then being able to do it for a widespread audience and have those widespread audience even ask questions. That's the interactive part's really cool.
Yeah, I agree. And to actually, I think my method of questioning is also disarming, because what I try to do is pretend like we're actually in a living room just eating wings, having a good
Yeah.
time, just talking about comic books. And folks seem to like that a little bit more. It's also virtual, so you can't really see people per se. So if you're an introvert, this is for you. And if you're an extrovert, it's even more so for you.
Absolutely. That's really cool. Um, so with comic books, let's just get right into that a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, San Diego Comic-Con just finished up here for 2024. Huge, a lot of announcements made there. Did you get to follow along any announcements that were made? And if so, what really stuck out to you the most?
Well, the big news obviously was, Robert Downey Jr. coming back. And so I had to dig back into my books and reread a lot of stuff that had to deal with that whole reversal of identities almost. Pretty cool. I had forgotten that I actually had them. And then I was doing more further research. So I'm interested to see what Marvel does and
Mhm.
which storylines, because, there is a what if storyline that's interesting
Yeah.
as well that could also be in play, or maybe they'll fuse both of them. But, you know, Marvel, you just never know. Yeah, they'll throw everything but the kitchen sink, and they'll also twist your arm and make sure that you pay for the admission to their show. So, I'm looking forward to that. I think that a lot of that big noteworthy stuff was overshadowed by a lot of stuff. Like, for example, there were other things happening at the con that nobody got to see. There was a Hellboy or Mike Mignola, like, preview and a trailer. I mean, there was a lot going on during that time. But I would say the Secret Wars, and I'm geeked about it. I actually have been collecting that first run series for a very long time. Just got my hands on number 8 again. I lost it when I was a kid. I don't know what happened to it. It probably wasn't in pristine condition, but again, those are some of the tidbits. I think that the trailers that they were able to show, in particular, movie trailers. So I'm excited about the resurgence of comic books in movies and also in animation. That's what I'm really geeked about. I know Batman's coming out with a new one. Looks a lot more darker. Reminds me of Bruce Timm's old school with a little bit of blood here and there. So I'm excited about it. And it was cool to see people in cosplay coming back. I know those folks work hard throughout the year, but
Mhm.
I think we're making a comeback, man. I really do. I think that the X-Men series, that series really catapulted us in a new direction because we were on
X-Men
this slump
97.
for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that to continue the trend.
Now, Gabe, did you have any thoughts about the RDJ casting?
Well, I feel like that question is sort of, what my answer is, because I'm not the biggest fan of Robert Downey
I
Jr.
know.
So I'm probably one of the few people that's not really excited about him coming back. I am excited to see what they're going to do and how Marvel is going to be able to, create this new storyline. So I'm interested in that. I'm just going to reserve my opinion until I actually see what they come up with. I'll just
Come
leave it
on,
at
Gabe.
that.
Gabriel, come on. No,
Yeah.
I'm with you.
I have to be a handful of people that aren't, super stoked, but there are some of us.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm like you said, Gabe. I wait till the final product comes out before I make my judgment. But I'm okay with him coming back. I wish they would have kept it a surprise, maybe for a little longer. I don't know if they
Yeah.
just needed his name recognition just to help, move it forward. But I wish they would have, because how big of a surprise would have been, first night of screenings, whatnot. Oh my goodness, Doctor Doom is Robert Downey Jr. I think that would have been a more of a emotional twist on everyone. But I guess also keeping that a secret for so long would have also been very challenging. So
I will say
I feel like it almost,
I was excited for the Russo brothers to come back, to be quite honest. I feel like there's a reset. But I do, Gabriel, I feel your pain. I kind of felt like it was too easy. It was
yeah,
too gimmicky. And they did announce it. But it's the Russo brothers, so I don't know. They made me cry at Endgame and some other movies. So we'll see what happens in this one.
yeah.
well, the Russo brothers, they did I think my favorite Marvel movie, which is Captain America Winter Soldier. So I'm on board with them. Whatever they're gonna bring, I know they're gonna bring an excellent story and make it stand out. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Now, Jenna, you mentioned something about the new Batman series, and I thought that was an interesting announcement that they made that they're going to gender swap the Penguin in that
Yeah.
animated series, and it's going to be voiced by a great actress, Minnie Driver. So I thought that was an interesting take, and I'm sure for a certain segment of fans, it's not going to go over well, but I don't have a problem with it. I think it's wonderful. And what do you guys think?
Go ahead, Gabe.
I'm a mini driver, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that the gender bender, especially across the whole landscape, I mean, it's Mini Driver,
Yeah.
so you can't get those are big names. And I saw the listing and the voiceover actors, and I just thought, yeah, her presence there will be a really cool addition and a different take. I mean, we do need to, especially DC animation has been on a slump for a minute. And so for DC to come back with, a new Dark Knight conversation and product, I think Minnie Driver is going to be an amazing voiceover and actor for this particular franchise. I'm hoping that it extends beyond that. It looks pretty cool. It looks darker and much more violent, actually, than I anticipated, but I think it's going to be great.
Now, is that more in line with like Matt Reeves, the Batman, which also they did more announcements about the sequel of that as well. So that's I didn't get to see any of the trailer for the Cape Crusader, so but it seems like it would be more in line with that.
Yeah, I think they're prepping for that. It makes sense to do so, especially since it will be coming out fairly soon. Um, you know, I hate to admit, but I did fall asleep a couple of times on that movie, The Batman. Sorry. I actually went
It's
to the movie
okay.
theater and passed out, and then woke up and said, "Shoot, I gotta watch this again." Um, I liked it. It was just very drawn out. So I'm hoping this is not what the animation will be like.
I did the same thing for the first couple of times through the original Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I don't know. I just fell asleep. Maybe I wasn't invested in the characters when they first came out, so I didn't really know their story too well. But
Yeah.
when part three rolled around, man, I was just like,
Yeah.
Give it to me, give me more." And of course, that movie was fantastic.
Yeah.
Sticking with DC a little bit and going into the comic books. Now, DC is doing, I guess, a reset with their new Absolute series and whatnot. I think that is an interesting way to approach thing. I mean, for new comic book people, it's a good jumping on point because everything can reset. But for people like you two who've probably been in the comics longer than I have, how do you feel about the resets each time they do something like that?
I don't know. I think I'm reset fatigued at times. It's just everybody's resetting every 3, 4, 5 years. Um,
Mhm.
I think there's some nuanced pieces, some creativity that happens, but again, it has to be the right chemistry and flavor. I just feel like I was burned by the New 52. you know, all those resets are they're just a lot, especially when you're reconning people's backstories. It's just like, okay, how many times can you do this? Understanding that also there is a business side to it. So in all honesty, if they can get people on board that are legendary or even new and up and comers that are really, really great writers, I think that Stephanie Williams, who's been a great DC writer for a while, did Nubia. She was able to bring Nubia into new prominence and retcon her and just rewrite that. So I think if you got some really good talent and creatives, make it happen. And I'm okay with it. As long as you don't jar me too much and then say, "Oh, we were just playing 2 years later, you got another retcon," or you went back to the original story. But Gabe, what do you think?
I feel somewhat the same. I think that if the storytelling is good, I'm all on board. But I'm sort of tired of the resets. To be honest, it can be a little tiring. But we'll see what they do. See if they come up with some fresh ideas. I always kind of give them the benefit of the doubt, and then when the end product comes out, kind of make a decision from there. So I'll be I'll be checking it out, seeing what they do.
Yeah, and you know what? I will say DC has been consistent in their comic book writing for years, and I would say, I'm also on the same bandwagon. I want to see, I want to see what happens next. Folks like Tom King and folks
Yeah.
like that are religiously really investing in the craft. I think that as long as they can keep those folks in house and pay them the money that they deserve,
Yeah, absolutely.
just to keep them right. You kind of have to feed your rock stars the money and the food that they need and the sustenance to keep them there.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of like Snyder's work, so I'm
Yeah.
excited that he's going to be in there. Kelly Thompson writing Wonder Woman, that's going to be great as well.
Yeah.
She always does a very strong protagonist female, so I'm excited for it. I mean, like I said, I've done more Marvel than DC books, so it's exciting for me to find a new. Okay, this is where I'm really going to start my dive into DC. Will be with this newest reset, so I don't have to worry about okay what happened in all those other issues, which is great to have and to read just for their storylines. But if I wanted to stick with the character, I can start from this point. So I'm excited for it.
What I do like about DC is that, like, for example, I don't know if you've read like the Golden Age Sandman series.
Have not.
Uh, please do so. I mean,
Okay.
it's a short stint. So I believe it's five issues, and they literally are putting together a golden age team. So there's also, Hawkman and some other
Mhm.
folks that are going to be pulled into this like universe. So the golden age is coming back, but the artwork is fierce. It's crazy good. So that Wesley Dodds Sandman, that's what it's called. And so
Okay.
that's my huge recommendation for most folks who are just wanting to just get a little taste and then dip out and come back in and kind of go back to the regularly scheduled program.
That's a good recommendation. I'll have to check that out. Wesley Dodds Sandman. Okay. The only Sandman I know is like Neil Gaiman's, right? So
Yeah,
I have to check that out. Okay.
yeah, that one
Very
is
cool.
old school.
I'm
He has
curious.
a gas gun.
Yeah, what I was going to say is I'm curious, and when it comes to deciding which books you're going to invest in, do you have like the side of you that's like the fan that buys the stuff that you like, and then the business part that you think is going to be a good investment? And how do you reconcile those two things?
Yeah, good question. So, as I told y'all, I'm in the business of selling comics too. I don't do it as much as I used to because I've become much more of an astute collector. So I started collecting older books from silver, some bronze. But if I could get money to do the golden age, that'd be awesome. But I ain't there yet. I'll be there one day. I keep looking over at the Captain Marvel, Shazam, back from like the 10 centers and 12 centers, and I'm like, yeah. I can't afford this one. But no, I think from a business standpoint, I actually collect what I love. Part of my selling is me telling the story and enticing folks into jumping into the read because, if I'm up there just, putting books up and just saying, oh, this book is great, and I don't know the guts of the book, or if I'm not invested in the book, if I'm just doing covers and just affirming those, like to me that doesn't make sense. So typically when I sell, I talk about the actual storyline, and that takes up a lot of time. But I feel that also provides trust in what I'm recommending. One of the things that I actually do is I have trusted souls in each of my LCSs that have similar tastes. And so I always, because I can't afford to buy every new comic book or every other run, and I ask them, what are you reading now? And that's how I got into Sandman. I actually asked one of the guys that works at the LCS. He's amazing. They put on the Baltimore Comic Con every year, and he said, "Yeah, give this one a try." And I was hooked, and so I was coming back, every few weeks to get it. So a lot of what I do at this point in time isn't necessarily primarily business sense. It's actually well, I guess it is. I want to have people enjoy what they're reading.
Yeah.
And so if I don't immerse myself in the culture authentically, then it doesn't make sense for me to be selling comic books or even just being a personality or on a podcast and whatnot. So I'm starting to read a lot more indie books. And everybody that I've interviewed in my con, I'm knee deep in comic books in my my office. So Yeah, I'd rather spend money on things that I know exactly are not just going to hold value, but they hold value to me as a collector.
Nice.
Very cool. Very cool. So you're not really just like uh, a a virtual store for people who just want random comic books. You're really more of the storyteller for that comic book, which is really cool to me. I mean, if I was new to comics, I want to hear the story of what's going on in that comic book, and to have that space that you have in Gen X Comics, it's really fascinating. Now, is that something that you can see yourself doing? I know you said you haven't been doing as much recently, but is that something that you can just see yourself continuing on and growing even more?
Yeah. So anybody who's listening, watching, I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel. One of the things that I've done is to kind of really formulate a community in that space.
Very
So whether it's a con space, I was doing weekly cons and giving people insights about globally where cons are happening.
Oh, cool.
So I do that as a kind of like a fun thing, service. I don't know if it's fun for other people, or if people go to the cons after my Gen X show. But I also do product reviews of things that I actually use. So I wouldn't like if a sponsor came up to me and they say, "Hey, can you do this?" I wouldn't blindly do it. So I always try to create this trust piece and let people know that I'm invested in it. So Comic Capsule, they reached out to me and I was like, yeah, you can send me something. And I fell in love with the product and now I have like too many. But yeah, those are things like for me, I can, even my shows have this segment called Education Station, and I literally highlight a YouTuber that's doing like comic book explanations or anything like that, or maybe even a highlight of a specific character that allows us to kind of get a quick, fast 10-minute snapshot of this storyline so people can buy it. And typically I have that comic book. So it's pretty cool that I can like translate into that. I did something on Doom probably about a month ago, and look where we are now.
Here you are.
So I'm like, great. Oh, I wish I hadn't sold that one.
I just waited a month.
Just a bit. Why didn't Robert Downey Jr. call me? God damn. So
He has my number. Damn it.
yeah. RDJ. But yeah, in all honesty, I think part of the journey for me is really about education. That's my love for this comic book community, and I learn as well. There's a lot of folks on the platforms and IG that do really good work and research, and I'm not a traditional researcher, but I am someone who is knee deep in a lot of the comic book lore.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's a little bit about how I navigate that space.
Right on. Right on. I want to talk a little bit something that's a little related. Well, it is related to comic books, and I don't know if you've had a chance to see it yet, Gen X. It's the new Deadpool movie. Now, Gabe, I know you've seen it. We won't do any spoilers here, but I'm curious to get your guys' take on it, thoughts and opinions. Gabe?
Yes, I did see it, and I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. I thought they did a great job of bringing in Wolverine and Deadpool together, and I loved all the cameos. No spoilers, but I loved all the cameos that were present. And I thought it was really funny, really humorous. A lot of action in it, but of course the humor is like front and center. So I thought it was great.
How about you, Jen? Have you had a chance to see it yet?
Yeah, I saw it, and it Ryan Reynolds, the billionaire Ryan Reynolds, seems to be a different type of beast altogether. When I learned what he had done to kind of get the, I guess, the chops to really say, "Hey, I want to take this franchise on." Um, I had seen Ryan Reynolds in other things as well, but he was just a goofy dude.
Yeah.
Smart businessman. I mean, this dude is amazing. So the movie is spectacular with all the cameos and the attention to detail. I think it's really freaking amazing. Might be it's up there with Endgame for me. So I
Wow.
really enjoyed it. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing it in the next couple of days. So even more excited now. I mean, it's hard. of course, I've been trying to actively avoid any spoilers for cameos, but it's really hard, especially when they bring them out in Hall H in Comic Con and bring out all the cast members who appeared. And of course, it's like, oh wow, that's a really cool. That's really cool. Oh wow, even better. So it's really exciting. Now I know who some of the actors that are brought back to be in it. It's just I'm really looking forward to it. And I think I'm not sure how involved the character was in there, but we all know that Wesley Snipes was in there. He's one of my favorite comic book movies. It's like one of the original, I think, comic book movies that really stood out to me, of course, with Blade. And so I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I was surprised about that too. I actually posted it when it came out, but the article, I didn't spoil the movie. I didn't do any of that stuff, but it didn't, the trolls were out there. So they were like, I hate you because of that. I said, I didn't spoil the movie unless
No.
you really want me to. I'll tell you the whole thing, but I won't do that because I love this community. But at the end of the day, it was really great to see some of that reunion actually between him and Ryan Reynolds. So
That's right.
looking
That's
forward
right.
to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From what, Blade 3? Was it, or 2 or 3?
Yep. It was
Blade
3.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right. So yeah, it's really fun. It's really exciting. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to it. Really am. And yeah, yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Just looking forward to it. Get my
Yeah.
full review after I watch it.
How many times did you see it, Gabe?
I've only seen it once, just because I've been going to a couple of concerts and I haven't been able to go out and see it again. But I probably will see it again this weekend.
Yeah, I'm coming. I'm actually gonna go see it this weekend too.
I'll
But
see.
my wife, I was surprised that she wanted to go with me, and I was like, I couldn't wait. So,
That's exciting. So we'll all report back next week when is the time limit up for spoilers when we can really just dive into it? Is that like 2 weeks after it's released, or isn't like the self-imposed no spoiler from the community like 2 or 3 weeks?
I guess.
I think there are people
that.
that will always be upset if you have.
Yeah.
It could be 5 years later and they're still going to get upset.
No, seriously, I agree with you. Yeah. Or is it like a date? You don't contact them until 3 days later. I mean, what is it? So I don't know if there's a time frame, but maybe we need to do a Wikipedia on spoilers when it's appropriate to spoil anything.
A whole episode on when can you say something and spoil something. Yeah. Never. No. Well, I think one of the last things I want to touch on, and we've each said the word a few times, and that's community. And I think with the comic book community, it varies so greatly. When I first got into comic books, went to my local comic book store, it felt kind of like almost like a click there, and I couldn't, they weren't really welcoming to new people. So I found another store, and then those people were really welcoming to new pursuers of comic books. So I think with what you're doing on your Gen X Comics platform and being very open and welcome to the community is really great. And I think that's how everyone should be, and no one needs to be any sort of like what's it called, the gatekeeper, right? Is that what it is?
Yep.
So how do you see this community, and where do you see it going in the future for you?
Yeah, I think the indie side of things are going to blow up, especially with the access, with people being able to build that community. I mean, the indie side of comic books is really interesting to me because I feel like you can have minimal investment and actually get a product out, right? And even fulfill your dreams to some degree. So if you're writing or illustrating your book, or you're just trying to publish your book, something that came out of your head from years ago, maybe as a child, what have you, I think it's important to allow space for that as well, and have other people be able to see you at cons and sell your books. Crowdfunding has been a huge piece to the puzzle that we hadn't anticipated. And so I think that the community aspect of it, macro or micro, is changing. And I think for the better, specifically for indie folks and indie publishers. There are some amazing books that have gone out. Not to do a whole episode of recommendations, but I actually, I've talked about Rodney Barnes and
Hmm.
Sean Alexander, and they did a book called Blackula, and so it's
Yeah.
a blaxploitation book. It is freaking gorgeous. I bought 2 copies of it. They were surprised I bought 2 copies, and I was like, no, I needed one for me to read and the other one for you to sign. So these are the conversations being had. But like, there's folks like, folks that comic books like Keisha, Demon Slayer. I don't know if you've Demon Eater. If you
Oh,
haven't read that, that's awesome. And it's actually done by Newton Lillivoy and Giancarlo Bernal, whose artwork is phenomenal. So you're starting to see, and I had Jack Harris over at Terminus Vale. That's another plug. I definitely would love for y'all to check that out. That's a great freaking book. It's G.I. Joe on crack. They do not play games on that side of camp. But there's a lot of stuff being done. I've met creatives who are musicians, right? So these art forms are fusing together to produce something that's
yeah.
magical.
Hmm.
I know of a publisher and a comic book creator who he does his own soundtracks for each of the issues and QR codes it. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I always enjoy that, especially when they put together like playlists for that.
Yeah.
Like, and it's who were we talking to? Was it Meredith, where she said that she has a playlist for each issue, and that she wants, or is it Jack Foster? It was one of the two. Where like
Jack
they
Foster,
timestamp,
yeah.
yeah,
Was
where they
Jack.
can timestamp it to the different listen to this song when you turn it to this page, and it's like gets you in that mindset of where that creator was and where he wants you to be. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, my hope is I'm actually finishing up a couple of books myself. That ultimately I'd like to publish and put out some books.
Oh,
I have
nice.
3 books that I'd like to push out. One in particular, hopefully this year or the beginning of next year. But you know, it's cool to have this community that you talked about to be able to get really close people who can guide you in the
Yeah,
directions that you need. And be able to do it in a very safe way so that you're not um, that you're not spinning wheels or spinning plates. It really is a community, and I've been able to create a small round table of creatives to help me with that conversation, which is really cool. That's what part of the con is for, so that people can actually connect with those creatives as well. Or if they're ready for publishing, you can, do it through these sources. And then there's folks who want to help you with crowdfunding. There's someone there that can actually walk you through it and give you a tutorial. Yeah.
that's cool. That's really cool. Well, we are a pop culture podcast, so we do more than just comics. So I'm curious. I always like to ask our guests what they're currently watching or reading outside of comics or listening to.
Oh, wow.
No
Oh
pressure.
gosh, I don't. Yeah, no pressure. You know, um, so I love movies with a passion. I love period pieces. I'm a historian.
Nice.
So I love all that stuff. Some of I would say the things that I like to watch. Um, like I like movies. I like horror movies as well. So, but period pieces are cool to me too. Like I think about, and this is gonna sound crazy. I think it's Henry V. I've watched that probably ad nauseum. Um,
That
and then
the Kenneth Branagh version.
yeah, the Kenneth Branagh version.
Okay.
That sucker is like 14 hours long, but it is worth the watch for sure. I remember watching it and I was like, is this thing over? I was gonna pull my Shakespeare off the shelf and be like, where are we in this dialogue? But it wasn't in there. Um, I also like I like movies like Seven, horror movies. High Tension is a French movie. If you haven't seen it, that sucker is pretty cool. It's twists and turns.
Okay.
Um, I like things like Legends of the Fall with Brad Pitt. Like, that's a pretty cool. I love Last of the Mohicans. That's another movie that I love. But mostly, period pieces like that really intrigue me.
Very cool.
Amadeus. I don't know if any of y'all, if I'm too old to talk about Amadeus.
No,
I'm
we're
a
in the
Gen
same
Xer.
age range, I think.
Okay. Woof. Sometimes I never know. Y'all look so young, so I don't know. My grades give it away. So, but no, those are things. The Red Violin. Oh man, that's another one. It's one of my favorites. So I like dark stuff. I like uh, sometimes the hyper masculine piece. My wife says it's too much. She's just like, I can't watch that with you. But I like, science fiction stuff. I'm excited about Romulus, Aliens,
Yeah.
and Alien, the new installment. So sometimes I'll go back to and watch Aliens, just to hear Ripley say, "Get away from her, you bitch." Just things like that. So I love Predator. I love all those, 1980s action movies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's really cool. I just watched a vampire movie. Not It's new, but it wasn't. It was I considered it a comedy horror, and it's Abigail. I'm not sure if you guys have seen that one or not.
Yeah.
That was fun. I enjoyed it. It's a ballerina vampire. I thought that was a fun take on things and how she invited she was just playing with her food. So I enjoyed that.
I haven't seen all of the trilogy, but do you remember that movie X
Danny just did a spoiler on that movie
on X?
on Abigail.
Yeah, Abigail. Yes,
Well,
he
hey,
sure did.
it's been out long enough, right? It came out last year, didn't it?
Oh, Danny, you're getting the virtual tomatoes thrown at you right as we speak. Duck, duck, duck.
But yeah, you're right about that.
No, I was going to say yes, X. I have seen it. It's a great movie.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a trilogy. With the others, the prequel that I believe the prequel that came after, and then there's a new one, the third one, and so I haven't seen them all. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, the Pearl and Maxine.
Mm-hmm.
Wait. So what movies do y'all recommend? Because I need some new stuff. Summer's almost over. I have to get ready for the winter, fall. I need some incubation, like chilling, hanging out stuff. So what shows are you watching? What movies?
Have you seen Long Legs?
Which one?
Long Legs.
Long Legs.
No. Let me write that down.
Nicolas Cage. That one is really great. If you like Silence of the Lambs, it's like Silence of the Lambs, but like to the next level.
Whoa. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Nick Cage is amazing.
He's scary. Do you know his story a little bit about the tomb he built in New Orleans? He literally
I did. I went to New Orleans. I want to say that I saw the tomb, but he supposedly has a curse on him because he did something wrong with buying the tomb and it didn't go along with voodoo practices, and he has a curse but supposedly because of that.
Oh my God. I don't think it's working, Gabriel. Because he's getting gigs left and right.
Well, his curse is that he never grows older, right? That's his curse. He's a vampire.
Yeah, when I saw that tomb, I was like, that is ridiculous. Why is it a pyramid and why is it humongous? It takes up your whole almost a quarter of the actual like ground. So I'm just like, this is ridiculous. Then I thought to myself, is he from New Orleans? I don't think he is. And he just built this thing there. So
yeah. He's just really into really creepy stuff.
He's a strange dude, but I love him. I'll take him.
I mean,
you have to see his.
I'm not a huge fan of Nick Cage. Gabe knows that. I did like the unbearable weight of massive talent with him and Pedro Pascal. That was probably my favorite Nick Cage movie because he wasn't really playing the character; he was just being himself, which I thought was really good. That was funny. But yeah, Gabe recommends Long Legs. I guess I'll have to watch it.
Danny, what are you recommending?
I don't even remember what I saw last night. Abigail, I watched. What else? Oh goodness, I'll have to check my notes. I watched the latest Ghostbusters movie recently, The Frozen Empire, because it's on Netflix now. I enjoyed it. I mean, some people didn't really think it fit well, but I thought it was fun. I think the character design of the main bad guy in that film was fantastic. So
cool.
I like that character design for that ice god or whatever it was. But What else? There's a show on Peacock Network called We Are Lady Parts, which I
Hmm.
really enjoy. Not sure if you've seen that one. It's about a Muslim female punk rock band,
Yes.
and it's really well done, really good. I enjoy that. What other shows have I watched recently? I'll have to get back to you on that.
Do
Those are my
y'all like
recommendations.
anime at all?
I like it. I'm not a super fan.
Yeah.
I mean, my anime's more of from my high school days of like Ranma One Half and I think one's called Bao Baoh. It's like one of the bloodiest anime I think I've ever seen. Like
Okay.
all the newer stuff, I've watched more of like the Avatar live action than I have the animated versions. One Punch Man, One Piece, haven't seen any of those. Uh,
Okay.
Dragon Ball Z and all that stuff, never seen those. My
Oh,
nephew
wait,
loves
first of
them.
all, you've seen them all because they take at least 15 seasons for that power up to happen the whole time. So I think you've seen the premise of the whole thing. It's not,
Okay.
but no disrespect. I'm not an anime geek either, but I did see on Netflix, and I'm not sure if it's still on there, Blue Eyed Samurai. It
I've
is
heard of that one.
absolutely amazing. That's a great one.
Okay.
It reminds me of Ninja Scroll, which I don't really watch a lot of anime, like I said, but I highly recommend those as well to anybody
Nice.
who
So
loves it.
Yeah, I've heard Blue Eye Samurai really high remarks about it, so I have to check that out.
It's very bloody. Just want to
That's fine.
let you know. Yeah,
That's fine.
it's the real life. It's just what it is, right? When you're a samurai who's blue eyed, you got to defend yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, any closing remarks or final thoughts you guys had on Comic Con that you maybe we didn't talk about that you really want to talk about? Any last parting shots that you guys might have?
Oh, he wants controversy. Okay, parting shots. My
Hey,
God.
bring it on. Why not?
Gabe, I'll let you start us off with that one.
Honestly, I'm just kind of sad that I wasn't there. I'm so close. I live in San Diego, and I definitely had felt like I was missing out on everything. We had so many friends of PopCultX that were here in town that I didn't get a chance to meet up with. So I just regret that I wasn't able to attend. It looked like a lot of fun. A lot of really cool people came down. We're at the convention, so I'm just sad I didn't get to meet them, collect any of new artwork. That's what I'm most disappointed with.
Yeah, I was hoping that RDJ would have like come and gotten me first before he went over, but it didn't happen that way. I'm with you. I wish I was there too. I have never been to San Diego Comic Con. I've had opportunities, but I had work or some family obligations, and I was in the lottery, got in, and I've never been. But I'm gonna make it there one day. I did see that a lot of folks got COVID, which I'm glad I
Oh,
didn't go because of that. So I'm thankful. But I actually love reconnecting, reuniting with folks that I've interviewed, whether it's on my podcast or on video or even at my con. It's just really cool to really see them in person finally. Now that we're on the tail end. I
mhm.
say that now, but people call COVID at San Diego Comic Con, so I guess we're not that far out the woods.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I think San Diego Comic Con delivered. I think a good start to the summer, and I'm hopeful that the rest of the cons kind of follow in suit. I know I'm a huge fan of mid-major cons. The mid-level ones to me are much more fun. I had a blast when I went to Las Vegas,
Okay.
and that was fun. Um, and I'm looking forward to Baltimore Comic Con. I'm actually hopefully doing, if they accept it and they see this, my proposal to do a panel. And I'm doing a
Nice.
panel on diversity. And I got a couple of folks already on the panel to talk about what that looks like. I'll be talking about gender bender stuff. I'll be talking about race and ethnicity and how that plays into people's mindsets.
Mhm.
So I'll be talking about Namor and why people got in the tizzy about that. I'll be talking about Disney's the DEI work and their stipulations, stuff like that. I think there's a balance there, but I'm a big fan of the mid majors. I don't like a lot of people around me, especially
Yeah.
during this time and season where everybody's sick
Mhm.
and coughing over you. So Not that I'm a hypochondriac. I don't want y'all to think I won't shake your hand when I see you in person. Okay. I will be more than cordial. I will be your brother in this in pop culture for sure. But yeah, when you're talking about tens of thousands of people, it's just not appealing to me. And standing in line is not appealing to me for 3-4 hours.
Right there with you. Yep.
Especially when you have like a person with 15 boxes on a flatbed and they're trying to get every single issue signed. I just don't get it. I'm like, come on. So, and I don't get to, sometimes I don't even get to meet the people I'm wanting to see. So I'm like, oh God, this is 3 days of this. And then I'm broke at the end of it. So
there you go. Broke and possibly sick. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully I get to meet y'all in person. I'll make my way to the West Coast for sure. And hopefully we can meet at a, San Diego Comic-Con next year. I did notice that a lot of con folks are actually doing twice a year, which is really amazing. I know, was it Amazing Amazing Con? Yeah, one in Las Vegas and one in Hawaii. So I don't know if that's a new trend.
True. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think people are clamoring to go back in person and meet their people, and the creatives are wanting to do the same.
Be a part of that community.
Yep. We just got to Purell up and mask up if we need
it. Walk around with that Lysol spray in the air type thing. Yeah.
Maybe that's my cosplay. Maybe I'll be the boy in the bubble. Maybe I'll do that. I'll just roll around in the bubble and just, say that's my cosplay.
Cosplay and safety. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. Well, Jen, thanks for joining us this evening to talk all things Comic Cons. We really appreciate it. Everyone out there, be sure to go follow Jen on his platforms, Gen X Comics, genxcomics.net can get you everywhere you need to go. Follow him on Whatnot, follow Instagram, anywhere else that you might be on, or YouTube.
Yes, please. Definitely follow my YouTube. I have all of my con interviews on there. I also have specialty interviews and some other things that I highlight, like I said. Just follow me. And then in IG, I'm GenX_comics. So that's where I'm really, really probably the most visible on there. But and if you want to help me with the con, wink, wink, I need y'all help. It's a lot of work. And I'm trying to get big names for the 5th one. I'm going to be doing that slated for January. So when everybody's either cold or in a decent place, we'll be able to
indoors.
Indoors. So that's a hell of a virtual con. But just follow me if you want to reach out. If you need help, that's the other thing. I can definitely connect you with some amazing folks as well. So I'm here about you all, and want to make this community as strong as it can be.
Right on. Well, everyone out there, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, subscribing. If you're not following us, be sure to do that. Follow Jen, and we will see you all next time.
Peace. Thank you, Gabriel and Danny. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.